I hope you love it, Cubs.
Oh, I hope you guys are liking the intro. Obviously not my intro. I lost a competition, and Arnold T101, Mobile Gamer, and Warrior are picking my intro for 5 videos. I've done one. This is my second, and now 3 more after this. So come back to the next few videos to see what they come up with next. Top 5 most underrated characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We have a very comfortable meta. You know, you got your Sith, you've got your Resistance, and you've got the characters that you're going to be using a lot. You've got your JTRs, you've got your Palpatines, you've got your, your Treyas, your Scions, your Nihiluses, all of that. These characters we see all the time, but there's a lot of characters, in my opinion, that are underutilized and underrated. So today I'm going to talk about 5 of those characters. Starting with number 1, I have Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. Now, I'm a bit biased here because Fulcrum is, she's just one of my favorite characters in canon, and so, yeah, I think she's underutilized. But look at her kit and what she can do. She is immune to dots. A lot of people forget about that, and we've got a lot of dots going around there, especially if you're going against Vader in the Nightmare teams and that kind of thing. But what I think she's really useful for right now that many people may be glossing over is just the sheer damage output that she brings to the table with a well-charged up Whirlwind. Because a lot of you are going against Nest and maybe struggling to beat Nest, but the way to beat Nest is going to be to lay a massive hit, because then that protection up won't matter because you're able to kill her first. Whirlwind is a very effective way to deal with that. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the one-stop shop in this case, because if you don't charge Whirlwind up correctly, then it might not work. Or if you're trying to attack Nest when Nest already has a lot of protection up, it's stacking. It's 40%, 40%, 40%. Pretty soon you're at 200% or more, and it's not possible to burn through. So if you time it right and you can get enough unique buffs on the team, this is a very effective character to use. Now, Fulcrum is also going to have a lot of use in territory battles and territory wars. She's going to have a certain degree of raid use. I don't think she necessarily has a perfect use in raids yet, but she's good for maybe a B team in phase 2, just to deal a little bit extra damage. And so Fulcrum's strengths are going to be damage output. She's going to be immune to dots. She's going to be very tanky in a lot of ways. She's kind of hard to burn through because she has in her kit. She's going to lose a little bit of health, but she also recovers 5% health for each buff on her, and so she actually becomes pretty tanky and pretty hard to beat. But weaknesses are going to be, she doesn't necessarily have a perfect team that she fits in a glove with. She's more of a standalone character for now, and you really have to get the RNG to play out pretty well for her to work. But when it does, watch out. Fulcrum can hit like a freaking freight train. Number 2 on the list is going to be B2 Super Battle Droid. Now, this character, for anyone who's been playing for a long time, you know what B2 Super Battle Droid can do to you, and it can be really painful. The reason why I feel like B2 is underrated and underutilized is because of his dispel mechanic. He's got an AoE dispel and buff immunity that he has a chance to apply. Mow down is the ability. It says deal physical damage to all enemies and dispel all positive status effects on them, with a 65% chance to also inflict buff immunity for 2 turns, which is applied before the damage. And then B2 will also, on Relentless Barrage, B2 has a 40% chance to gain 100% turn meter whenever another ally is evaded or damaged by an attack. So B2 does not really need that speed. He's going to gain it. He's going to be taking a lot of turns. He's going to be able to clear buffs and apply buff immunity. Think about how useful that is against the Scions out there who are taunting a lot, or even if you're going against a Scion Sith Trooper combo, if you can land that buff immunity on those characters, it's very, very valuable, and B2 is able to do it on an AoE basis. And so those guys are already taunting. You're able to clear the taunt. You're able to clear the taunts at least, and then also apply that buff immunity to prevent it from coming back and attack those characters that are most valuable to you. So Positives here for B2 are going to obviously be the Dispel, obviously the buff immunity. Those are very, very useful. He's also to a certain degree a bit tanky. He's not one of the most tanky characters in the game, but he is, I would say, tanky. The biggest catch, however, to B2 is his damage. He hits like Barasafi. He does not hit very hard at all. He's there for utility. He's there to clear the buffs. He's there to apply the buff immunity. He's there to take a lot of turns and just be annoying to the other team. Another negative I would say is we don't really have a team that B2 works super well in right now. However, we could be a Grievous rework away from B2 gaining a lot of use. We could be maybe just a new droid away from him gaining use. Or maybe we just need to theory craft a better team for B2. But he's at least going to have a lot of functionality in territory wars, territory battles, maybe in the arena. In fact, after I record this video, I'm going to go try to get some footage of B2 and see if I can get him to work in the arena, so stay tuned. If you're seeing it right now, then I stand corrected. But for now, I have not seen a way for him to work perfectly in the arena, but I do think we could be a character or a rework away from that being possible, again, especially given the current state of the meta. Number 3 is Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, I actually was not a believer in Grand Moff Tarkin until doing competitions here in Hollywood. Arnold was using Tarkin in one of these competitions, and I saw Tarkin hit on AoE for 30,000 damage on the whole team AoE. That is crazy. And how does this happen? It comes from how his AoE interacts with potency. And so look at his Callous Conviction Zeta ability. Grand Moff Tarkin gains defense equal to his potency percentage and 20% potency for each debuffed enemy. Now picture on a Nightmare team, on a Sith team, even with Traya in there, how many debuffs are going out on the other team. That's going to be a lot of potency. Now let's flip over to Ultimate Firepower. This is AoE, and this is where he gets really good. Deal special damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to remove 50% of their turn meter. An entire team removing 50% turn meter. That is insanely useful. And then picture how many buffs are going to tend to be on the other team if you're playing it right. This attack gains offense equal to double Tarkin's potency percentage. That's how he's able to do 30,000 damage on his AoE, because he gains from that Zeta ability lots of potency for each debuffed enemy, and that potency will be doubled to equal his offense on that attack. Definitely useful character. So the positives are obviously going to be that damage output. The positives are going to be removal of turn meter, 50% turn meter removal on his AoE. Very, very solid. Negatives here, his basic's not going to hit very hard, and also he's kind of a squishy character. He's an easy target. Other than that AoE, he's not going to be a huge threat. Number 4 on the list is going to be Darth Maul.
Woo! Darth Maul's back, baby!
That is right, Scotto from the Cheat Code Visa, my buddy who loves Darth Maul. I found a way to get Darth Maul on the list. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not feel like Maul is a top 15 character, but I do feel like he's underrated, especially with the Sith raid. In fact, my man Warrior over there with Team Instinct, you've seen his YouTube channel. He runs Maul lead in the arena right now with the Sith Triumvirate, and that works. I'm showing footage right now of Maul with the Sith Triumvirate. It adds value, it adds that evasion, it makes them that much harder to burn through. I don't know if Maul lead is going to be the best way to get through it, but it's a different way, and it presents different obstacles in the battle that can be frustrating for the enemies to fight, especially if you mod him well. You got stealth going around, you've got taunt going around, which makes it hard to attack who you want to attack and win. But don't forget that Maul on his AoE also has Daze. Now, Daze, in my opinion, is one of the most useful debuffs in the arena currently, because we have so many turn meter gain mechanics going around, and Daze is going to prevent you from gaining that turn meter. So that's very useful to have as well, and that's on an AoE basis, so you have that chance to Daze every single enemy when you are attacking them. So, obviously, some strengths here are going to be that daze, very, very useful, and then the evasion, the leadership, which kind of brings a new flavor. It's going to be different, and so people may be thrown off guard when they attack your Maul lead. Some weaknesses here are going to be that Maul is in and of himself pretty squishy, and there just might flat be better options. I think Traya lead is probably a better option than Maul, but still, it has its uses, and I'm excited to see some people starting to experiment with it. And then finally, number 5 on our list. And this is not an ordered list, by the way. All of these could be equal, but I think this might be the most underrated character in the game, and that is Holdo. Now, I know some of you don't like her character. Get over it and look at her kit. She is going to work very well in a resistance team, especially given the current meta. This is my patron here. I'm showing footage. Captain Figon. He is running Holdo in a JTR team. He's able to burn through Traya leads. He's able to burn through Palpatine-led teams with Traya, with his JTR team, and Holdo. Now, what is it that makes Holdo so good? Before I saw Captain Figon's footage, in fact, I actually wasn't super familiar with her kit other than when I first revealed it when we first got Holdo. Look at her Zeta ability. Quiet Confidence. Whenever a resistance ally loses foresight, Holdo gains taunt for 1 turn and recovers 10% health. While Holdo doesn't have taunt, she has plus 50 speed. And all other resistance allies have 20% critical avoidance. So that's obviously very useful, but that is not the only thing that makes Holdo good. On her second special, she's going to be able to cleanse and heal. She's going to be able to daze, which is, again, one of the most useful debuffs in the game. That's going to be on her first special, and it's AoE basis. Deal special damage to all enemies and inflict daze for 2 turns. Inflict defense down and evasion down on the primary target for 2 turns. And then on her basic, she's going to be able to spread foresight around as well, which can also have a lot of really important implications in phase 1 of the heroic Sith raid, and it's going to be obviously very useful with the JTR team. So, positives of Holdo are clearly going to be her utility. She's going to be able to heal. She's going to be able to apply important debuffs. She's going to be able to spread that foresight. And she's very tanky. She's able to recover health. Not to mention, she also has plus 50 speed, which is very, very useful as well when in a speed-heavy meta. Negatives are going to be that Holdo, after her utility, is not much of a DPS threat. She doesn't hit super hard. And I wouldn't say she's overly that tanky. I mean, she does take a bit to burn through, but next to some tanks like Sith Trooper and some of those other, great tanks in the game, she's going to be easier to burn through than them. So, what did you think about my list? What are some of your underrated characters in the game that you are using or that you don't think get enough love in this game? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, my brothers, don't forget.
For my dead body. Sorry about the mess.